So today we'll be getting into Alexa Bliss's comments about a dark time in women's wrestling history and even some former superstars who spoke out about these dark matches due to Alexa's comments. Let's get into the story. Alexa Bliss is one of WWE's most gifted and talented performers, both in the ring and on the mic. Alexa was signed to a WWE development deal in her early 20s with no prior wrestling experience. With no indie experience, Alexa Bliss is a full product of the Performance Center, and they did an absolutely phenomenal job with her. The Performance Center has done a great job of creating huge WWE superstars that had no independent scene experience, and Alexa Bliss is one of those amazing superstars. Alexa came into the WWE scene in 2013. At that time, WWE was still misusing a lot of their talent in the women's division and possibly misusing the entire women's roster, to be quite honest with you. For starters, WWE women weren't even called women in 2013. They were still being referred to as divas, and their division was called the Divas division. Although some superstars and fans probably liked the term, there was a bigger majority of people that hated the term and cringed at the word diva. Women weren't allowed to be called a WWE superstar. The proper term for a woman in the company was WWE Diva. The title of superstar was reserved for only the men, and that started to bother a lot of people and caused a movement to improve the women's division. It was women like AJ Lee on the main roster, as well as Paige and Emma over in NXT, that were really pushing hard for the women to be given more opportunities than just 2-minute long matches. So Alexa Bliss recently sat down for an interview with Fox and revealed a lot about her personal experience when she first got into WWE, how the women weren't allowed to actually wrestle, and her view on some of the dark matches in WWE history when it comes to the women. Here's what Alexa had to say when asked about the topic. When I first started in NXT, there were certain moves we weren't required to learn because we were never going to use them. The idea was a cat fight. It all changed for me when I was watching a match with Paige and Emma. They did a top rope suplex, and we're like, yeah, this is where it's all going to change. It was awesome because it shows our women are athletic, can do what the men can do, and can be seen in a different light. I respect the women who had to do the B and P matches because I could never do it. Kudos, I couldn't do it. You gotta respect that because they did that for us to do what we do now. So let's break down Alexa's comments. First off, the catfight comments. This is something that we've heard a lot of former WWE women talk about. Basically, WWE divas at the time weren't allowed to have an actual wrestling match. WWE just didn't view them in that certain light at the time. WWE would give them 2 to 3 minute tops and instruct them to just have a cat fight because that's basically the only thing they had time for with just 2 minutes. That's why a lot of WWE women at the time all had movesets of these catfight moves. Things like regular slaps and takedowns followed up by more slaps. That was the sort of thing we saw in women's matches up until maybe 2013, 2014. The women's division was basically overlooked and was a complete afterthought for WWE until 2015, 2016. That's when WWE started to take them more seriously and really give them a chance, retiring the Butterfly Divas Championship and replacing it with proper women's titles, calling the women superstars instead of divas. WWE really did a whole proper makeover of the division. It was the first time in countless years that WWE started to take the women seriously, and it was just perfect timing as well. You had these phenomenal women like Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Paige, and more, all debuting around that 2015 to 2016 window, and it would have been an absolute shame to waste their talent in 2-minute long matches. Thankfully, something clicked in WWE, and that made them open up their eyes for the women's division, and it really took off from there. The women had a lot of first-time evers, such as the Women's Royal Rumble, Women's Money in the Bank, Women's Hell in a Cell, Women's Elimination Chamber, an all-women pay-per-view, and so much more. The old WWE from 10 years ago would have just laughed at just the thought of giving the women all of these huge accomplishments So it's really nice to see how far WWE has come and how they really changed everything. However, even though they've moved on from the past, we still can't ignore what the WWE put their women through in the early 2000s. It's a part of their history, it'll always be there, and it also traumatized a lot of women on the roster that had to experience it firsthand. Alexa Bliss mentioned some of these old matches as well. To think that WWE actually had a match where the winner was determined by how much clothes they had on. That's just horrible. It was matches like that, even other things like bikini contests, photo shoots, pillow fighting matches, and all those other gimmick matches. That's all the WWE was really using their women for. They were using them for everything besides actual women's wrestling. That's what Alexa touched on there in her closing statements from the interview. She says that she has the most respect for the women that were used that way by the WWE because she would have never been able to do anything that they did. Alexa also thanks them because they did pave the way for the current women's division to be able to actually wrestle and do what they do. They owe a lot of thanks to all of those WWE divas that were put through so many terrible things. Gail Kim, a former WWE superstar who was around for those dark times in the WWE, responded to Alexa's comments and revealed a side to everything that we never really saw before. Gail Kim had this to say in response to Alexa Bliss. Never looked at it that way. I just have to say out loud that this, along with some other gimmick matches similar in nature, were some of the most traumatic moments of my life that I have to live with, feeling like I never had a choice. That was a powerful comment by Gail Kim and really opened up a lot of eyes and brought up a lot of questions about how did these women actually feel about these over-the-top gimmick matches that were uncomfortable to watch. It was uncomfortable for the viewer to watch. Imagine how it was for the actual participants in the match. Don't forget what WWE had Kelly Kelly doing every week on ECW way back in the day. It's situations and things like where we really wonder what was going through their heads. Were they okay with this, or did it traumatize them for life the same way it did to Gail Kim? That's a really important question to ask here. Telling by Alexa Bliss's comments, the whole catfight mentality to their matches were still around even when she first showed up not too long ago. So this still is a fairly new change for WWE. As long as they continue to give their women opportunities, their work will really steal the show. I found Alexa's comments about the situation to be really interesting, and it also allowed us to take a look back at the history of women in WWE. So I wanted to cover that topic. This is a great time to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A large percentage of our viewers aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. Let's get back into it. Our next story will be about something we've touched on recently, but we'll be going over a big update to the story. As we started to see late in the week, some superstars were coming out and sharing the unfortunate news of their positive test result for the virus. Renee Young was the first one to announce the news, and a handful of talent followed her right after. But if you've noticed, no one else is sharing their results anymore, and there's a big rumor behind that. Reportedly, WWE superstars are forbidden from sharing any news about their test results with the public, whether it positive or negative. They can't say anything to anyone about it. It's being reported now that Renee Young could be in the doghouse for starting the trend and being the first to reveal her test result. Renee Young is a huge name in the WWE, and for her to reveal that she tested positive made national headlines everywhere and was a horrible look for the WWE. If more superstars decide to reveal their positive test results, it will just continue to make WWE look even worse and worse. So it looks like they put a stop to that right away. But I don't know if I really agree with this. Of course, the test result is private information. If someone wants to keep their result private, then that's fine. It's their right to. But there might be some superstars out there that are more transparent with their fans and would like to let them know what's going on and what their result was. But they're not allowed to give their fans that update. WWE seems to be ripping that option away from the superstars and telling them, no, you're not saying a single word. And it goes back to what we were talking about before, that it just seems like WWE is going all out to keep everything hushed, and that's not going to work. The same way Bleacher Report and all these other media outlets got the story the first time, they'll get the story again, no matter how hushed WWE tries to keep it. Remember that it wasn't WWE that came out and revealed their dozens of cases. It was the sources at TMZ and Bleacher Report that broke the story. So, if it wasn't for them, we probably never would have heard all of these confirmed cases. Either way, it's really scary stuff, and we'll keep you updated on everything we learned from this point on. What are your thoughts on Alexa Bliss's comments about the old women's division and how they were treated at the time? Do you agree or disagree that it was wrong? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.